Frankie Hagan, and I taught the second East Coast swing class today, which means I talked about triple steps for some people for the very first time. And so we're going to review the things that I talked about in that class that got people rolling with swing, and Margaret is going to be my partner helping me as I demo for you what I taught. Now, a lot of people, it was the second class they'd ever taken, unfortunately, so we reviewed some things from the very first East Coast swing class of the day. We made sure everybody was really comfortable with their basic East Coast swing timing. And then after we walked through things like step, step, rock, step, I did some things that talked about shaping the dance. A lot of times when we're dancing East Coast swing, if people have seen a lot of West Coast or Lindy Hop, or they're not really experienced with so many different dances, because you know when we start dancing swing, in the beginning we just think swing dancing, but there's like so many different swing dances. We talked about the shape of how East Coast swing works. We talked about how a lot of times with East Coast swing you're almost dancing in a hula hoop with your partner, and you're following each other around in the hula hoop, as opposed to in other dances where we might really lengthen out and create a stretch. That mechanic doesn't exist so much in East Coast swing. So we want to be able to dance with the person we're dancing with. So we developed those skills of dancing closer to our partner, working even then in the beginning and as we worked on the arc turns, so that we were dancing right there with the other person that we were dancing with, as opposed to creating those really long stretches that you see a lot of beginners create there in the beginning. We also took some time to talk about rock steps and make sure people were doing them properly. A lot of times when we begin swinging in the beginning, people tend to launch themselves really far back on a rock step. And what we were trying to do is definitely keep everybody with their feet under their body and pitched forward slightly, so we're dancing with the person that we're dancing with as opposed to at you, right? You know? So that's what we're trying to do, is dance with our partner. And once we were good on those concepts, we made sure we reviewed our closed East Coast swing basic. We talked a little bit more about shaping it, kind of for the man and for the lady, getting our feet in kind of an L pattern. The guy's going to be ever so slightly off center to the lady, not directly up on top of her. His right foot's going to kind of fall to her center, so that way that we're not dancing on her feet, right? And then as we developed, and we talked a lot about keeping the feet under the body in the man's center and the lady's center. I find a lot of times when people start and they get into triple steps, because they're not aware of where their body is, they tend to really throw their feet way out there and get them away from their body. And we wanted to create a smoother transition for swing dancing. The man's center, remember, is his chest, and the lady's center is her hip line. So all of dancing a lot of times is going to involve me making this and making that go somewhere. Okay? So a big part of what I did was help people get those feet under their body, so even when we're doing single kind of swing, we're keeping it right directly under our body, dancing in this nice, simple area. When we developed into our East Coast swing basic, we worked on the East Coast swing timing, which of course is the 1 and 2, 3 and 4, 5, 6 timing. You may start with a rock step in some classes, which would be 1, 2, 3 and 4, 5 and 6, but it's all good, right? And of course, naturally, for the lady, doing the opposite, moving to the side, starting with her right, and 2, 3 and 4, 5, 6. And so we worked on getting everybody really comfortable with that triple rhythm, so that they're turning their feet out, right? Not dancing straight like we're robots and we don't have knees. You know, getting everybody really comfortable with that movement, working on the timing, dancing with the different types of music. And then, of course, we developed into our closed basic, doing our triple timing. We talked about position in the closed basic, where we actually hold the lady's hand, because I'm leading her center, not mine. Remembering that a lot of times when guys who are beginners get nervous, they get their hands up here and they look like chipmunks. And we don't want to look like a chipmunk when we're dancing. So we definitely want to keep our hands down for the leading. And we're leading her center, her hip line, as we move into our triple steps, working with that on the rock step. We talked a little about compression, which helps us learn to be a good leader in the end, and that I should actually be leading that rock step, giving her a little gentle nudge that creates that rock step movement. Once again, in that position, in that L shape, the guy moving forward, triple step, or 1 and 2. He's still got the right foot behind him, still squared to the lady, 3 and 4. And he's bringing that rock step, again, directly behind his body in what ballet dancers call third position, ever so slightly behind the foot, rock, step, as opposed to straight out and away, right? And the lady, of course, doing the natural opposite, as Margaret does here, with her foot turned out, hitting that 1 and 2, 3 and 4, and the 5, 6. Reflecting each other. If you drew an outline around you, remember it would look like Pac-Man, right? Good way to remember it. And we worked on doing, instead of the arc turn as you might have done in the single time swing, we worked on a basic first underarm turn and triple swing, where the lady turns out, rock, step. And now what we want to do is we're actually going to shape the lady in with us on this first turn. Triple, triple, rock, step. The lady turns, first triple, and I want you to actually turn and face on the second triple the gentleman, and he's going to pick you back up right after that. So we're going triple, step, triple, rock. She turns out, triple, and rock, step. And we worked on this just basic sequence of catch and release. Do you like a catch and release analogy? There we go. For sending the lady out, her flipping for the second triple, the guy picking her up. So we can work on that basic concept of the guy raising the hand out, framing the lady's head, because she's turning under her own arm, not my arm, so that she can get through the turn, and that we pick up together on the rock step. And that's what we covered in East Coast Swing 2. I'm Frankie Hagan. I'm a dance instructor who also teaches ballroom, and I'm known as a Balboa competitor, too, here in the Triangle. My website is dancefrankie.com. You can reach me at 919-696-5770. I teach in Wake Forest and in Raleigh. In Wake Forest, I have group classes at the Taylor Academy of Dance. You can reach their website at tayloracademy.com, and you can also find information on my classes on Facebook. Have a great day.